Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And we got some, actually it's not news, it kind of is but it isn't. It's just not confirmed yet by the actual company Nike. So, shout out to Nick DePaula. So he put a tweet out going, well, first of all, Ja Morant was wearing a good amount of KD4s. He made a post about it and he said, KD4 stash is elite. And then Kevin Durant said, going dummy as usual. And then Nick DePaula tagged KD and said that people want a Protro, and then KD said, I think it's about time. So he's saying a Protro, right? Nick DePaula said Protro instead of retro, and Protro and retro is pretty different. So a retro is just, you know, it's just the same shoe, but then they're just giving you like a different colorway or something that came out, but it's pretty much the exact same tech, right? But Protro, which kind of started with Kobe, and which started with the Kobe 1 Protro, is they're updating the tech that was inside of the shoe, right? So the original Kobe 1, I believe, well, it definitely didn't have a full-length zoom unit, and also they cored out the midsole to make the actual shoe lighter and all that. And then the Kobe 1 Protro had a full-length zoom unit. It was lighter than the original Kobe 1, so I really like that concept a little bit better. So how is KD going to Protro his shoes, and which shoes do we want him to Protro, right? So down in the comment section below, tell us what you guys want to see Protroed if this ever happens. I mean, KD said it's about time, so maybe he's working on something with Nike. We'll have to see. But of course, we have the KD4. This is not the original KD4. This actually came out a couple of years ago, but the tech is pretty much the same. The KD4 is a very, very nice performer. Of course, there's a thin line, very thin line actually, between improving the tech and improving the actual shoe versus making it look a little bit different, right? So for example, we saw like a lot of you guys hated on it for some reason. I actually really like it. So shout out to DG Hoops for this picture. We actually see the Curry 1 flow, right? So this is a very weird color. Not a huge fan of the colorway, but it's a Curry 1 low flow, right? So it's using the flow midsole and outsole, which is gonna be insane. Like, you know, the flow technology has insane bite. Cushion, I don't know, it's not that nice, but they're pretty much using the same upper as the Curry 1, right? So is this actually the Curry 1 or is it not? Like, I feel like I do definitely like the improvement in tech, right? But it's not really the Curry 1. It doesn't really give you that nostalgic feeling because it's a little bit different, you know what I mean? And also the Curry 1 is retroing on November 11th. So if you guys are interested in that, put that date on your calendars. So anyways, how are we going to upgrade this shoe, the KD4? I actually would want to see a KD4. I actually haven't tried the KD 1 through 3, sadly, so I don't really have any input on that as far as the performance goes. But the KD4 was super nice. Traction was solid. Cushion actually was pretty damn nice. I really liked it. The foam was soft here in the heel. I believe there is a 4-foot zoom unit, so it's a very basic cushioning setup. I mean, it's a KD4. He was trying to keep his shoes, or it was kind of like on the budget side of things. And of course, we have the strap and all that. How would they improve upon this? Maybe a full-length zoom strobe or a zoom turbo unit in the 4-foot and a full-length cushion. I mean, honestly, you can't really change anything else about the shoe. You can't really change the materials and also like the outsole, because, you know, it's not really the KD4 like what they're doing in the Curry 1 low flow, right? So the only thing you can really change in a Protro is pretty much the cushioning setup. Maybe core out the midsole or make the material a little bit thinner to shed off a little bit of weight, but that's pretty much all you can do without kind of like altering the way the shoe looks, right? So we got the KD4 here. Next, we got the KD5. I actually really liked the KD5. The only thing I don't like about it is the high top. It's a very stiff, like positive material, which I didn't really like. In my personal preference, I just like lows better, you know, better ankle mobility. But anyways, traction is really good. Cushion, not my favorite. You got a 4-foot zoom unit and an Air Max unit here in the heel. So maybe they can improve upon the cushioning setup in the KD5, but like, how would they remove the Air Max unit? You know what I mean? Like, maybe you can have the Air Max unit in the heel, obviously to keep the aesthetic, but put like a full-length zoom strobe unit or something, right? To improve the cushion. Material, I mean, it's a synthetic, you know, it's pretty damn thin. I don't really mind it all too much, but I know a good amount of people that don't like synthetic materials, so maybe they can like make the material look like a synthetic, but make it like very soft or something. I don't know, improve upon the technology there. But there is the KD5. One shoe I definitely really need to Protro is the KD5 Elite, and we I forgot about Elites, you know. Do you guys miss Nike Elites? I kind of do, honestly, you know. Remember, they would have like the actual signature shoe during kind of like the beginning of the season, and then during like the playoffs or maybe a little bit before that, they would unveil like the Elites, and they'd be like, oh, these are the new kind of like elite models gearing toward the playoff season, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then obviously it was way more expensive, which kind of sucked. It was like $40, $50 more expensive, but it was kind of like another shoe, you know? But anyways, the KD5 Elite was amazing. The traction was top tier. Cushion is definitely something they can improve on in a Protro model, I feel like. So there is a zoom unit in the heel and in the forefoot, I believe. But did you guys see this? This thing is literally the hardest plastic, right? So it's super stiff. So they could definitely improve on the cushion, probably add a full-length zoom strobe unit or something. And the materials, I mean, they're not that bad. You know, once you break it in, it's like super soft. It's a synthetic material, so I mean, you know, like I said, some people really don't like it. Of course, we got the carbon fiber clip here in the back. Were they ever Protro Elites though? What do you guys think? I wonder. But I would definitely love to see the KD5 Elite Protroed. Also, another shoe that I really need Protroed is the KD6. I really like the KD6. Traction is phenomenal. Just not the best on dust, but you know, it's a pretty easy wipe. Cushion, of course, it can definitely be improved upon. I mean, I believe there's a 4-foot zoom unit in here. Air Max unit here in the heel, which I don't like. Maybe just add a full-length zoom unit. That's pretty much, like, what else can they do, honestly, like in a Protro? What they've done in the Kobe's is replace the foam. You know, in the KD5 Protro, they put full-length cushion on and then a zoom turbo unit, you know, in the forefoot. So that's pretty much all they can do, you know, like switch up the foam and then add like a zoom turbo unit or a full-length zoom strobo unit, or maybe they can add a zoom strobo unit in the forefoot, kind of like in the Zoom GT Run, right? You know, if they did that, the cushion would be great here in the KD6. The KD6 cushion is pretty, I mean, it's all right. You know, you have a 4-foot zoom unit and all that. It's more on the stiffer side, but I guess it is responsive. And of course, like all old school Nike shoes, they are using a synthetic material. And of course, we got the KD6 Elite, which is absolutely insane for cushion. We got a full-length zoom unit, super freaking bouncy, extremely bouncy actually. Traction is really good. And of course, for the material, we got mesh, which isn't the best, and this shoe I believe was really expensive, you know, when it came out. So I don't know, like, how maybe they can have the full length. Imagine that, imagine a full length zoom unit like this and then another full length zoom strobo unit. How crazy would that be? I don't think they'd ever do that, and I honestly don't really think they'd Protro an Elite model, but just imagine, that would be crazy, right? Now we got the KD7. The KD7, I feel like a lot of people would want to be Protroed. I know a lot of people that like the KD7. For me personally, I like how it looks. I actually really like how it looks, but performance-wise, I didn't really like it all too much, you know? I feel like it's because it was a little unstable for me, and I actually rolled my ankle in it a lot. Sprained it actually pretty bad twice in the KD7, so that's why I don't really play in it, because, you know, this part is just kind of unstable. So maybe it's just me, I don't know. But anyways, you know, if they did Protro it, what would you guys want to see different, right? Like I said, you can't really change all too much without changing the aesthetic. You know, you can't really change the materials. Maybe they can. Maybe they can add like a knit material. What would you guys think? You know, instead of this mesh, it's basically a shit mesh, which I'm not a huge fan of, but if they would kind of maybe replace it with a textile, you know, improve upon that, keep the fly wire, of course, keep the strap, which is iconic, but don't really like straps all too much, right? And then you got the posit material here in the heel, which I don't like all too much either. The cushion, maybe the only thing they can do is either a zoom strobo unit or like a softer foam, right? Like pretty much that's the thing. Like, you know, if you're gonna Protro a shoe, the cushion is pretty much all you can change up, and it's kind of like only on the inside, you know, like a zoom unit or something. But I feel like the KD7 would definitely, like a lot of people would want to see Protroed. Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember this? The KD7 Elite with the posit material and how stiff. Actually, I wonder how heavy the shoe is. I don't think it's like super heavy, but it's definitely not light. Yeah, it's only 12.17 ounces, so it's not super heavy, but it's definitely a very stiff shoe, and I didn't really like it all too much when I was playing in it. How much does the regular KD7 weigh? 11.46 ounces, so definitely lighter than Elite, but yeah, No, we're not gonna Protro this. Please don't. This would be the worst shoe to Protro. I actually feel like there would be a riot and people would be very mad. Of course, we got the KD8. KD8 I feel like would be a great Protro. You know, it's not super old, but it's not like very recent where it's like, why would you Protro that? It just came out, you know what I mean? Traction, I definitely feel like they can improve on because it was so bad for me personally on dust. But the cushion, remember we got the full length zoom. Didn't really like it all too much just because it was kind of like segmented, and I could really feel the zoom in it here, just like compression like crazy, only here pretty much, you know. But anyways, maybe they add this and a full length zoom strobe unit. Crazy, right? That would be crazy, but just imagine how bouncy that would be. Of course, I really like, what would they call this? Like the fly weave or something? And they only did it on the KD8. They're like, oh, it's the new material, fly weave or whatever it was called. And we didn't ever see it ever again. So here's the KD8. I definitely would like to see the KD8 Protro. It's definitely a great looking shoe as well. Remember the KD8 Elite? I don't have it anymore. I feel like I gave it away because I didn't like it really at all. Remember with the kind of like the compression tight. A lot of people clowned on it. I remember KD's, the regular one kind of like came up to here, I think, but there was one where KD's kind of like went up to his like knee, and it was orange too, so kind of looked like he had like a duck feet or duck legs or whatever. But anyways, I feel like everything after that, you know, like the KD9, we got the 10, where's my 10? I got the 10 here with pretty much the same exact zoom unit. The 11, which not a huge fan of this shoe. I kind of really didn't like it, you know? The full length zoom unit was super nice. It was pretty clunky here in the heel though. Pretty damn heavy as well. Let's actually check the weight. Yeah, 13.5 ounces, pretty heavy. And also, remember this here in the back? It made my Achilles bleed a lot. Like the skin, it was peeling off a lot. I feel like a lot of people had that problem as well. And of course we got the 12. The 12 was super nice, but it's too recent to Protro. And then the 13 here, and then the 14, right? So out of all of these shoes, I would definitely like to see either the KD6 Protro or the KD4, right? Or the KD5 Elite. The KD5 Elite, you know, or I guess the KD5 would be fine too. Just like I said, not a huge fan of the high top, but I definitely do hope that Nike does Protro like a lot of shoes. Like what other lines do you think they can Protro? Maybe some Kyrie's, but I don't think his line is like there yet, you know. I feel like he needs to be in like a Kyrie 14 or something like that, like a lot more into the future to Protro some like old shoes, you know what I mean? But anyways, that about wraps up this video. Again, tell us what you guys want to see Protroed in KD's line. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.